So now that we've built our application, we need to host it live. We want to put it up on some URL that people are able to access so that when they go to our URL, they get our project and then they can play around with it. Right now, we've only ever accessed our web application through localhost 3000. But what we're going to use is a service called Heroku. And what Heroku is it's a platform as a service that allows us to host our web application on a URL that they provide for us for free. Now, of course, if you had more requirements and you needed more bandwidth, for example, because your website's getting a lot of traffic, you can upgrade the plan that you get by default with Heroku. The free plan is pretty good for us because honestly, for a portfolio project, I do not expect that we would get that much traffic that it breaks the amount of bandwidth that Heroku gives us for the free plan. But in order for us to explore what Heroku does, we just have to understand the basics of web hosting. So right now, we have all of our React code written, right? And we know that from our initial lesson on Create React App has all these scripts and configurations that help convert our React code over to the basic JavaScript, HTML, and CSS code that browsers need. But in order for the browsers to actually get our website, they need to get it from a server of some kind. Just like how when we go to localhost 3000, we get the JavaScript, CSS, and HTML files that build our website from our local server that we're running, and it's communicating to port 3000. Now, this server is local, and only we can access localhost 3000. But this is pretty much the same idea, except when it comes to web hosting, this server needs to be on 24 hours, right? And Heroku is going to be the service that actually hosts the server that serves up our HTML, JavaScript, and CSS files whenever somebody accesses the URL that they give us as well. Now, in order to use Heroku, you have to sign up for Heroku. And it's a very easy sign-up process. There's nothing complicated about it. And you can pretty much just go to the Heroku website and just sign up by going into this right button and then clicking the sign up. Now, you can pause here and finish that sign up before we continue. But I already have a Heroku account, so I'm just going to log in to mine. And after you've signed up, we'll both end up on the dashboard. And on this dashboard is where we can see what projects we have currently hosted through Heroku. So Heroku provides not only this dashboard, but also a command line interface that allows us to access our Heroku account through our command line so that we can actually push our projects up onto the Heroku platform. Now, there's a couple ways to download the Heroku CLI, which is the command line interface. And you can get that through this link I'm going to provide you. Now, on this website that I'm going to give you, down in the download and install, just install the specific one for your platform, right? If you're using Windows or if you're using Ubuntu, just use that one. If you're using Mac, download the installer and then run it. And after that, make sure you follow the installation instructions that are underneath. And in order for you to verify that you've got Heroku installed, you are just going to run Heroku -- version in your command line. So I'm going to do that right now. From this point forward, I'm assuming that you have your Heroku CLI installed. So from our terminal, if you run Heroku version, you should see some version of Heroku pop up. Now, once you have Heroku, you have to do Heroku login. So for me, I'm just going to log out of mine first to demonstrate for you how Heroku login works. So once we have Heroku, we're going to say Heroku login. And we just hit any button, and it will ask us to log in with Heroku. If you're already logged in, you pretty much simply click login, it will tell you that you have now logged into your CLI. So if we close this page and we go back, we'll see that we're logged into our Heroku account. And now we're able to access a plethora of Heroku-related functionality through the CLI. Now, in order for us to get our application up onto Heroku, we have to use some of the commands from our Heroku CLI. Now, Heroku's projects are kind of like GitHub repositories. You pretty much push commits up onto Heroku using Git commands, but they're Heroku-specific Git commands. And then Heroku will naturally build it depending on what script we tell it to run, and it will serve it from a Heroku website, which we will get. Now, how we're going to do that is we're going to first create a Heroku project, which we can do from our CLI. So what we'll say is Heroku create, and then the name of the project which you want. And usually what it will do is it will use the name that you've given it, except it will put Heroku in front of it. So let's say our website is Crown Live. Then it will pretty much be heroku.crownlive.com. After this, we're going to say -- build pack. And what a build pack is it's essentially a specific configuration for the build that we want so that it deploys our React as a static website. And we want this because it's the best and most efficient way for us to host our React project created with Create React App, because this build pack is going to be a Create React App build pack. And we'll get it from this link. So what you're going to type in after you've typed in -- build pack is https://github.com/mars/create react app/buildpack.git. And this build pack is also great because it will also use the production build of our React app for the deployment. And you'll see this when we actually run our Heroku project. So after we've done this, we want to push our changes up to this project. So what we'll say is we'll say git push Heroku master. Now, Heroku is the repository that our current Heroku project that we just created is connected to in terms of our own project. So our project is pointing to this new Heroku project when we type git push Heroku. And when we say master, we just want to push our master branch. So now when we do that, we'll see that it will start building the source onto our Heroku project. So because of this build pack that we've set up, it's going to optimize the build for Heroku to deploy our Create React App project. And you'll see this log, which is a live log of Heroku spinning up our project on its server that we've just created when we wrote Heroku create. It's going to get all the packages related to our project, so all of the node modules, right? It'll set up all the dependencies. It'll optimize the build using the Create React App configurations for Babel and Webpack. And then after some of these, it will say optimizing build right there. So it'll say running build, right? So it's running our Yarn build script, and it's now creating this optimized production build based off of the Create React App configuration. And once it's done building, it will host our website and serve it with this new Heroku URL that it'll provide. So let's just wait for our builds to finish. And then near the end here, you'll see that it's successfully deployed to this Heroku link. So now if you copy this link and paste it into your browser, you'll be able to access this project. And now we'll see that our project is fully loaded. Now what we want to do is check the functionality. And we'll actually see that everything is working as we wrote it. If we go to our checkout, we'll see that we're actually still able to go through our full checkout flow, except because now our site is hosted over HTTPS, Chrome, if you're using Chrome, will allow any of the previously stored credit cards that you might have put in to display. So it offers that autocomplete feature using the Stripe checkout now, which we didn't have access to before because we were not hosting our application over HTTPS. So I'm just going to use the fake credit card that we have here. And we'll see that our application is working as it was before. The only thing that might not work is actually our sign-in. Because if we try and sign in, we'll get this message actually in our consoles that says that we are not authenticated, right? Unauthorized domain. So this is because Firebase wants to know which applications are allowed to access our authentication service. So what we can do is we can just copy our URL, right? So before the sign-in, you want to copy this URL link. We're going to go to our Firebase and go into our project. And then inside of authentication, we're going to go to the sign-in method tab. And down in the authorized domain section, we're going to click add domain and paste our link and then click add. And now we have to refresh our application. And now if we click sign in with Google, we'll see that it works. Just like it did before. Now, the only thing is that maybe we don't want to display all of these log messages of our actions, right? We don't want to log anything once we're in production. And I'll show you how we can remove this from only production in the next lesson.